Hi, let's talk about how to do effective sprint planning today. I'm calling this sprint time management. Okay. If you are in a situation where the team is not able to manage time to fulfill their sprint commitment, or the team is scrambling to do demos or retros because of lack of time, or the stories are either not ready or not prioritized properly, or just simply it's your first sprint. So, if any of these situations are true for you, then this session will help you think where the problem could be and perhaps even tell you how to resolve it. With all the events and activities that are required, uh, contribution that require contribution from various roles, it can become very complicated. So let's try to entangle all of that. As we all know, an effective sprint length is 1 to 4 weeks. In this example, I'm using this 2-week sprint as a sprint duration. Okay, just 2 weeks. You can see this sprint. This is week 1. This is week 2, and my sprint is starting from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday is the first week, and so on. Okay, as we all know, starting a sprint on a Monday and ending on a Friday is a very bad idea. That's why I'm starting on Wednesday. Okay, I'm also assuming that each week has 5 working days, and which translates to about 40 hours of Teams time per week. So let's start with the first event here, okay, which is the sprint planning. On the first day of the 2-week sprint, the team should spend about 4 hours to plan which stories they can reasonably finish in these 2 weeks. Remember that by this time, product owners should have prioritized the stories in the product backlog, and the team should have a general clarity on what top priority stories are. Okay, there are other videos that kind of details on what exactly happens in the sprint planning event itself, so you can take a look at that. Okay, let's talk about the second event that consumes team's time in the sprint. I'm calling them as dailies. These include the 15-minute daily Scrum and any other breakout sessions that may happen thereafter. So in my experience, these practically consume about an hours of Teams time every day. Okay, so you can see that they're happening every single day. Now, towards the end of the sprint, you can see, as we all know, there's a demo. Again, in my personal experience, putting the demo together and then actually demoing the 2 weeks work done usually takes about 2 hours. Okay, so I'm going to budget that much time for it. This 2 hours also includes, discussions around the feedback that is collected from the stakeholders, because that may cause, updates to the product backlog. The fourth event here is the retrospective. Depending on the team's composition, it can consume anywhere from 1 to 2 hours of the team's time. So we should budget for it appropriately. Now, there's a fifth thing as well that a team must budget time for, which is the backlog refinement. It is important for the product owner and the team to carve out this time for conversation around the stories and the product backlog, so that when it's time to plan the sprint 2, not the sprint, but the sprint that is coming after this one, everyone has a general idea about what those stories are and what their priorities are. Okay, and the stories are also well written for that sprint. You may want to study the INVEST principle of user stories to find out what makes a good story. It's really up to the team and the product owner to decide how they want to carve out this time for refinement in the sprint. It could be a couple of time-boxed blocks, as you can see in this diagram here. Or they can also decide that they want to spread this time out over the length of the sprint. Okay, so I personally prefer the time boxes in blocks. But either way, this activity, this backlog refinement activity, consumes 2 to 4 hours in a sprint. So these are the 5 things a team must budget time for. Now, all the blank space that you see here in these 2 weeks, that's the time that is available to everyone to work on the sprint backlog. Okay, in this time, the team would be writing awesome code. Product owner would be addressing any kind of doubts, questions, confusion, concerns any team member may have while they're writing code. The Scrum Master would be involved very deeply in removing any kind of impediments and also shield the team from any kind of distraction that may come that way. Also in this time, product owner will be talking with the stakeholders to order and reorder things in the product backlog. Okay. Now here's the interesting part. In my practical experience, the team should only plan for about 80% of this remaining time that is depicted in the white space here in these 2 weeks. This will factor in any unplanned work, distraction, estimation errors, unplanned leaves, etc., etc. If you add it all up and apply the formula, we get about 50 plus or minus 2 hours net available time in these 2 weeks. Remember that these are 50 team hours and not individual engineers' hours. Okay, so there you have it. I hope this information will give you a good direction to run very efficient sprints. Thank you very much.